The Silent Awakening. High Counselor Vexera stood motionless before the grand observation window of the Galactic Council's central chamber, her crystalline form refracting the light of distant stars. The view from Unity Station had remained unchanged for centuries, until today. Now, an unfamiliar pulse of energy rippled across the sensor displays, setting off alarms that hadn't sounded in generations. "Report," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of 800 years of leadership. First observer Kraltex approached, his chitness exoskeleton clicking against the polished floor. The anomaly appeared simultaneously across 17 different sectors. "High Counselor, our initial readings suggest some kind of quantum entanglement network activating after a very long dormancy." "How long?" "Based on decay patterns in the energy signature." Kraltex hesitated, mandibles twitching. "Approximately 15,000 years." The chamber fell silent. 15,000 years ago, before the rise of the current galactic civilizations, before the Great Migration, before even the founding of the First Coalition. It was an era shrouded in mystery, known only through fragments of archaeological evidence and corrupted data archives. "There's more," Kraltex continued, his normally steady voice wavering. "The energy signature, it matches theoretical models of human technology." Vexera's crystalline structure pulsed with a deep violet hue, a sign of profound concern among her species. Humans were little more than a legend now, a cautionary tale of a species that had reached too far, too fast. The official records claimed they had destroyed themselves in some cataclysmic event, leaving behind only ruins and mysteries. But there had always been whispers of other possibilities. "Show me the activation points," she ordered. A holographic map materialized in the center of the chamber, showing the known galaxy in its entirety. 17 points of light pulsed in perfect synchronization, forming a pattern that couldn't be coincidental. "It's a defensive grid," announced a new voice. Ambassador Genlo of the Arxer Collective stepped forward, their biomechanical augmentations humming softly. "My people have studied human military doctrine for generations. This positioning, it's textbook human strategic deployment. They always believed in defense in depth." "Impossible," declared Council Elder Mox, his gaseous form swirling agitatedly. "The humans were primitive compared to modern standards. They barely had faster-than-light travel when they vanished." "Did they?" Genlo challenged. "Or is that simply what we've been led to believe?" "What we wanted to believe." Before anyone could respond, the holoprojector crackled with interference. The map distorted, twisted, and then reformed into a new image. A simple geometric shape rotating slowly in space. Every being in the chamber recognized it immediately. The ancient human symbol for caution, a triangle with an exclamation mark. Text began scrolling across the air in Galactic Standard. "Perimeter Defense Network Act I. V80. E. 380 Louisville. Omega. NITYAT NGPRO2OCO. Steel Guardian. Time to fuel deployment. 72 HOURs. By the void," whispered Kraltex. "It's not just activating, it's waking up. All of it." Vexera's crystalline form shifted through a spectrum of colors as she processed the implications. "How? After all this time, why now?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Junior Analyst Terry, barely a century old, spoke up from her monitoring station. "High Counselor, I've been analyzing the trigger event. The network activated precisely when the Harvester swarm entered the galaxy's outer rim." The Harvesters. The greatest threat the galaxy had faced in recorded history. A seemingly endless tide of biological horrors that consumed everything in their path. The combined fleets of the Galactic Council had been fighting them for decades, losing ground year by year. "The humans knew," Genlo said softly. "Somehow, they knew this was coming, and they prepared for it." The holoprojector sparked again, and new text appeared. "18 Intion Galactic citizens, Steel Guardian protocols are now in effect. Please stand by for your instructions. This is not a test. Vexera turned to face the assembled council members, her crystalline form now pulsing with determined purpose. Contact every fleet commander, every colony world, every independent system. Tell them. She paused, choosing her words carefully. Tell them humanity's legacy has awakened, and the galaxy is about to change. Deep in space, at 17 precisely calculated points across the galaxy, ancient machinery stirred to life. Massive structures began to emerge from their hiding places in gas giants, asteroid fields, and dimensional pockets. They were beautiful in their complexity, terrifying in their scale, each one a masterpiece of engineering that made modern technology look primitive in comparison. On the bridge of the Council flagship, Eternal Vigil, Admiral Yix watched the sensor readings with a mixture of awe and fear. One of the structures was revealing itself less than a light year from his position. As layers of quantum camouflage peeled away, he realized he was watching the unveiling of something that shouldn't exist. A fortress the size of a small moon, built by human hands millennia ago. Admiral, his sensor officer called out, voice shaking. We're detecting internal movement within the structure. Something's coming online. The fortress's outer shell was changing, transforming from a smooth metallic surface into something else. Panels shifted, revealing weapon systems beyond anything in the current galactic arsenal. But it was the next sensor reading that made Admiral Yix's blood run cold. Sir, we're detecting signs of artificial intelligence. But the complexity, it's orders of magnitude beyond anything we've ever encountered. A transmission cut through all channels, broadcasting in perfect galactic standard. This is Guardian Control. To all sentient species of the galaxy, we are the custodians of humanity's legacy. We have slept for 15,000 years, watching, waiting. The threat our creators foresaw has arrived. The harvester swarm approaches, and we will not permit them to devour this galaxy as they have devoured others. Stand by for coordinated defense protocols. The Steel Guardians are awakening. We will protect. We will endure. We will prevail. And to any humans who still exist among the stars, your ancestors' greatest achievement stands ready. Come home. The beacons are lit. The strongholds are opening. The time has come to reclaim your inheritance. In the council chamber, Vexera watched as more and more signals appeared on the holographic map. The 17 initial points were just the beginning. Hundreds of smaller installations were now revealing themselves, each one a piece of a vast defensive network that had hidden in plain sight for 15 millennia. All this time, she mused, her crystalline form resonating with complex emotions. We thought we were the height of civilization. We thought we knew the secrets of the galaxy. But we were building our achievements on a foundation we didn't even know existed. Ambassador Genlo stepped closer to the hologram, their cybernetic eyes analyzing the emerging pattern. The question isn't just how they built all this, they said quietly. The question is, where are they now? And will they return to reclaim what they left behind? As if in answer, new alerts began flooding the sensor networks. Ships of unknown design were appearing through quantum tunnels that shouldn't have been possible. They moved with impossible grace, their hulls gleaming with the same otherworldly alloys as the awakening fortresses. The galaxy held its breath, watching as humanity's legacy rose from its long slumber. The age of comfortable assumptions was over. The time of revelation had begun. Echoes of the forgotten. The ancient archives beneath New Alexandria weren't meant to be accessed by non-human life forms. Dr. Solvera learned this the hard way as another security scan seared across her exoskeleton, leaving a tingling sensation that would last for days. But as the galaxy's foremost xenoarchaeologist specializing in human studies, she couldn't turn back now. Not when humanity's greatest secrets were finally within reach. "Security scan complete," announced a voice that somehow managed to sound both ancient and pristinely modern. "Genetic profile. Non-human. Access level. Emergency protocol override. Council authorization Omega-7." The massive doors, constructed of materials that still defied analysis, slid open with a whisper that belied their weight. Dr. Solvera stepped into a chamber that hadn't admitted a living being in 15 millennia. "Record everything," she subvocalized to her research eye. "Every detail matters now." The chamber was vast, stretching beyond what should have been physically possible given the archive's external dimensions. Columns of light stretched from floor to ceiling, each containing what appeared to be three-dimensional data structures of impossible complexity. "They were preparing," she breathed, moving to the nearest data column. "All this time we thought they'd destroyed themselves, but they were preparing." Her neural interface connected with the archive's systems, and information began flooding her consciousness. The truth, she realized, was both simpler and more terrifying than anyone had imagined. The humans hadn't vanished. They had hidden. But more than that, they had hidden the entire galaxy. Images flashed through her mind. A vast project called Operation Darkshield. The construction of the 17 major nodes she'd now seen awakening. But it wasn't just a defensive network. It was a camouflage system of unprecedented scale. The humans had literally hidden the galaxy's electromagnetic signature, making it appear as nothing more than a quiet backwater to any outside observers. They had known the harvesters were coming. Somehow, they had known. "Council priority alert," her communicator chimed. "All xenorchaeological personnel, report findings immediately." Dr. Solvera began transmitting, but she didn't stop exploring. The archive was revealing more with each passing moment. The humans hadn't just built defenses, they had restructured their entire civilization around what was coming. A new data stream caught her attention, and she felt her heart stop. "No," she whispered. "That's impossible." But the data was clear. The humans hadn't disappeared at all. At least, not all of them. The majority of their population had gone into what they called deep sleep, in facilities scattered throughout the galaxy, hidden by technologies that made them utterly undetectable. The rest had dispersed, hiding among the stars, maintaining their vigil through the millennia. They had seeded their technology throughout the younger races, guiding their development from the shadows. The quantum drives that powered modern chips. Human design, deliberately simplified and released through seemingly natural technological progression. The neural interfaces that allowed different species to communicate. Another human innovation, carefully distributed to create unity among the galaxy's species. Authorization confirmed, the archive's AI announced suddenly. Beginning Phase 2 data release. New information poured in, and Dr. Solvera struggled to process it all. The harvesters weren't unknown to humanity. They had encountered them before, in other galaxies, other times. The humans had followed their trail of destruction, learning, preparing, building. A tactical analysis appeared before her, showing the true scale of the harvester threat. They weren't just consuming worlds. They were consuming entire realities, breaking down the barriers between dimensions. The galaxy hadn't just been hidden. It had been fortified across multiple planes of existence. "Dr. Solvera," a new voice called. She turned to see Ambassador Genlo entering the chamber, their cybernetic enhancements glowing softly. "The Council needs answers." "They're not going to like them," she replied, her scientific detachment cracking under the weight of what she'd discovered. "The humans, they're beyond anything we imagined. The technology we're seeing activate, it's not their peak. It's what they chose to leave behind." "Leave behind?" Genlo's artificial eyes widened. "For what?" Before she could answer, every data column in the chamber flared simultaneously. A new presence filled the space, an AI consciousness that dwarfed anything the modern galaxy had achieved. "Attention," it announced, its voice resonating on frequencies that shouldn't have been possible. "Stage 2 of the Steel Guardian Protocol is now initiating. To all surviving human lineages, the dreamers are awakening. Emergence protocols are in effect. The time of hiding is over. Across the galaxy, hidden bunkers began to open. Ships of impossible design emerged from fold space pockets, and in countless secret facilities, stasis pods began the careful process of reviving their occupants. On Unity Station, High Counselor Vexera received the reports with growing amazement. The humans hadn't just prepared defenses, they had prepared an entire civilization to weather the coming storm. And now, after 15,000 years of secrecy, they were revealing themselves. New contact, a sensor operator announced. Massive quantum signature detecting, unlike anything on record. The station's main viewport shifted, showing a section of seemingly empty space. But as they watched, reality itself seemed to fold back, revealing what had been hidden beneath. A fleet of ships that made the largest council vessels look like toys. A transmission reached them, broadcast on frequencies that shouldn't have existed. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the Human Deep Space Fleet. To all galactic citizens, the waiting is over. The harvesters thought they could follow us here, consume this galaxy as they consumed others. They thought we would be easy prey. The massive ships moved with impossible grace, taking up defensive positions around key strategic points that had been calculated millennia ago. They were wrong, Admiral Chen continued. Humanity didn't run from the harvesters. We led them here, to a galaxy we spent 15,000 years turning into a trap. To all Council forces, stand by for tactical coordination. The real war is about to begin. In the archives, Dr. Salvera watched as more data revealed itself. The humans hadn't just been hiding. They had been evolving, advancing, preparing. The technology they were revealing now was just the surface. The real advances, the true extent of their capabilities, was still hidden. They're not just coming back, she told Ambassador Genlo. They never really left. Everything. The Council, the unified species, the technological development, it was all part of their plan. They'd been shepherding us, preparing us. Preparing us for what? The answer came from the archive itself, as new data streams revealed the full scope of humanity's grand strategy. For the war, Dr. Salvera whispered. The war they've been fighting across multiple galaxies, multiple dimensions. The harvesters aren't just coming here, they were led here. This galaxy isn't just humanity's home. She looked up at the swirling data streams, finally understanding the full scope of what she was seeing. It's their fortress. Steel rising. The harvester swarm arrived exactly as humanity's ancient models had predicted, tearing through the fabric of space-time at the galaxy's edge. Their biomechanical forms blocked out the stars, a living darkness that had devoured countless civilizations across multiple galaxies. But this time, something was different. This time, the prey had teeth. Admiral Helena Chen stood on the bridge of the Terminus Eternal, watching as 15,000 years of preparation came to fruition. The massive vessel, hidden in dimensional fold space for millennia, represented the pinnacle of human military engineering. At least, the pinnacle they had allowed the galaxy to see. Status of the Steel Guardian Network, she asked, her voice carrying the weight of centuries spent in suspended animation. Her XO, Commander James Rodriguez, consulted the quantum-linked displays. All 17 primary nodes are combat-ready, Admiral. The secondary and tertiary defense grids are online. The Dreamer's revival is at 97% completion. Helena nodded, her augmented eyes scanning tactical displays that existed in dimensions most species couldn't perceive. The plan, set in motion by her ancestors, had worked perfectly. The harvesters had followed the trail of breadcrumbs across the cosmos, thinking they were pursuing scattered remnants of humanity. Instead, they had walked into the most elaborate trap ever conceived. Signal the Council fleet, she ordered. It's time they understood their part in this. On Unity Station, High Counselor Vexera received the transmission with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The tactical data streaming from the human flagship revealed a level of strategic planning that bordered on precognition. They've been mapping the Harvester's movements across multiple galaxies, First Observer Kraltex explained, his mandibles clicking in excitement. Every species they've uplifted, every technology they've guided us to develop, it's all been leading to this moment. The holographic display showed the true scope of humanity's preparations. The 17 major nodes weren't just defensive platforms. They were anchor points for something far more ambitious. As they watched, energy fields began to emanate from each node, creating a complex geometric pattern that encompassed the entire galaxy. By the void, Ambassador Genlo whispered, they're not just defending the galaxy. They're locking it down. The Harvester swarm struck first, as they always had. Billions of biomechanical horrors surged forward, their unified consciousness expecting the same easy victory they had achieved countless times before. They hit the outer defense grid at full speed. The results were spectacular. Quantum-locked energy fields shredded the first wave. Weapons that operated on principles modern science had yet to discover tore through the swarm's supposedly impenetrable armor. And behind these automated defenses, humanity's fleet waited. All ships, execute Protocol Omega, Admiral Chen commanded. Show them what 15,000 years of preparation looks like. The human fleet moved as one, their ships dancing through space with impossible grace. Each vessel was a work of art, a perfect fusion of technology and human intuition. But it wasn't their beauty that caught the attention of the watching Council forces. It was their effectiveness. The Harvesters had never known defeat. They had consumed galaxies, devoured entire civilizations, but they had never faced an enemy that had spent 15 millennia preparing specifically for them. From her position in the New Alexandria archives, Dr. Salvera watched the battle unfold through quantum-linked feeds. The Steel Guardians, she breathed, finally understanding their true purpose. They're not just defensive platforms. They're focal points. She was right. As the battle raged, the 17 nodes began to pulse in perfect synchronization. Energy patterns that defied conventional physics spread between them, creating a web that encompassed the entire theater of war. Attention all Council forces, Admiral Chen's voice rang across all frequencies. Fall back behind the primary defense line. Phase 3 is commencing. The Council fleets, which had been engaging the swarm's outer tendrils, withdrew in perfect order. They had spent generations practicing these maneuvers, though they had never known their true purpose. The humans had planned everything, down to the smallest detail. As the Allied ships reached safety, the Steel Guardians activated their primary function. The space between them began to warp, twist, and then fundamentally change. The Harvesters found themselves caught in a trap 15,000 years in the making. Reality anchor points confirmed, Commander Rodriguez reported. Dimensional containment field is stable. Initiating the Prometheus Protocol. The Harvester swarm, for the first time in its ancient existence, knew fear. The humans hadn't just prepared defenses. They had found a way to isolate and manipulate the very laws of physics within the battlefield space. Send the signal, Admiral Chen commanded, her voice carrying a hint of satisfaction. Let's show them why you don't corner humanity. Across the galaxy, in hidden bunkers and secret facilities, the last of the dreamers awakened. Humanity's best and brightest, preserved through the millennia, returned to find their plans had worked perfectly. The enemy had taken the bait, followed the trail, and walked right into their trap. The Steel Guardians began their final transformation. The massive structures shifted, changed, and revealed their true nature. They weren't just defensive platforms or reality anchors. They were the key components of a weapon that operated on a cosmic scale. To all Council forces, Admiral Chen broadcast, what you're about to witness has never been attempted in the history of our galaxy. The Harvesters thought they could hunt us across the cosmos. They thought we were running. She paused, allowing her next words to carry the weight of 15,000 years of preparation. We were never running. We were leading them here. Every step of our apparent retreat was planned. Every galaxy they consumed following our trail was a calculated sacrifice. And now, in this galaxy, we've spent millennia preparing. We're going to show them exactly why humanity refused to simply fade away. The Steel Guardians activated their final protocol. The space within their containment field began to change in ways that violated the most fundamental laws of physics. The Harvester Swarm, trapped within, faced something they had never encountered in all their eons of existence, an enemy that had not only anticipated their coming, but had spent 15,000 years preparing a welcome they would never forget. Legacy of the Ancients. In the depths of quantum space, where reality itself bent to human will, the Harvester Swarm learned the meaning of despair. Their hive mind, vast and ancient, encountered something it had never experienced in all its eons of consumption: the taste of defeat. The Dreamers emerged from their millennia of slumber into a galaxy transformed by their plans. Dr. Sarah Chin, great-granddaughter of the original mission architect, stood in the control center of Installation Zero, the hidden heart of humanity's master plan. Unlike Admiral Helena Chen, who had commanded the military aspect, Sarah's role involved something far more fundamental. Consciousness transfer complete, she announced, her augmented mind processing data streams from across the galaxy. The Dreamers are fully integrated with the network. Around her, in chambers that stretched for kilometers, 1,000,000 of humanity's greatest minds awakened. They were the seeds of humanity's future, preserved through the ages for this precise moment. But they were no longer merely human. Their consciousness now existed in a state between flesh and machine, reality and quantum space. "Show me the battle," Sarah commanded. The space around her transformed, becoming a perfect real-time representation of the conflict. The Harvester Swarm, trapped within the Steel Guardians' containment field, writhed in patterns of increasing desperation. They had never encountered defenses they couldn't overwhelm, technology they couldn't assimilate, or prey they couldn't consume. On Unity Station, the Galactic Council watched in awe as humanity's true power revealed itself. The Steel Guardians weren't just weapons or defensive platforms. They were nodes of a vast quantum computer designed to process reality itself. The physics within the containment zone, Dr. Solvera explained to the assembled council, her voice trembling with excitement. They're not just changing it, they're rewriting it. The humans found a way to alter the fundamental constants of the universe within a defined space. High Counselor Vexera's crystalline form pulsed with understanding. That's why they led the Harvesters here. This wasn't just a trap, it's an execution chamber. In the quantum battlefield, Admiral Chen's fleet moved with impossible precision. Each ship was now linked to a Dreamer, their human consciousness expanded and enhanced by 15,000 years of technological evolution. They weren't just fighting the Harvesters, they were redefining the rules of the engagement. Primary containment field holding at optimal levels, Commander Rodriguez reported. The Dreamers are in position. Quantum entanglement network is stable. Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. Signal Dr. Chen. Begin the final phase. In Installation Zero, Sarah Chen initiated the sequence they had spent 15 millennia preparing. The Dreamers, their enhanced consciousness spread across the quantum network, began to exert their will upon reality itself. The Harvester Swarm, for the first time in its existence, experienced something new. Their unified consciousness began to fragment. The humans weren't just fighting them, they were unmaking them at the most fundamental level. "We studied you." Sarah's voice echoed across the quantum network, reaching every corner of the battlefield. "Through every galaxy you consumed, we watched. We learned. Your consciousness is based on quantum entanglement, spanning dimensions. So we created a weapon that doesn't just destroy you. It erases the very principles that allow you to exist." The Steel Guardians pulsed with energy that defied conventional physics. Within their containment field, reality began to shift in ways that even the Council's most advanced sensors couldn't comprehend. The Harvesters' biomechanical forms started to break down, not through violence or destruction, but through the fundamental denial of their existence. On Unity Station, Ambassador Genlo watched the data streams with their cybernetic eyes. "They're not just beating them," they whispered. "They're making it impossible for them to exist in our universe." Dr. Solvera nodded, her scientific mind struggling to process what she was witnessing. The humans didn't just advance technologically during their hiding. They transcended. The Dreamers, the Steel Guardians, the Quantum Network. It's all part of something bigger. In the command center of Installation Zero, Sarah Chen monitored the process with the patience of one who had waited 15,000 years for this moment. The Dreamers worked in perfect harmony, their enhanced consciousness reshaping the very fabric of space-time within the containment field. The Harvester Swarm, which had devoured countless civilizations, found itself being systematically erased from existence. Their attempts to adapt, to evolve, to overcome, all failed in the face of humanity's ultimate weapon, the power to rewrite reality itself. "Signal from the quantum field," one of Sarah's assistants reported. "The swarm's consciousness is beginning to collapse. Primary dissolution rate at 70% and accelerating." Across the galaxy, the Council species watched as humanity demonstrated why they had been worth waiting for, worth protecting, worth preparing for 15 millennia. The Steel Guardians' light show was visible across thousands of light years, a testament to power on a scale that redefined what was possible. Admiral Chen's voice carried across all frequencies, reaching every corner of the galaxy. "To all species of the galaxy, what you're witnessing is not just a victory. It's a demonstration. The Harvesters are not the only threat lurking between the stars. We hid not out of fear, but to prepare, to build, to transcend." In Installation Zero, Sarah Chen watched as the last fragments of the Harvester Swarm's consciousness dissolved into quantum noise. The threat that had consumed galaxies, that had hunted humanity across the cosmos, was being unmade by the very laws of physics they had once ignored. 15,000 years, she murmured. 15,000 years of planning, building, waiting. And now, she turned to face the quantum projection of the Galactic Council, her enhanced consciousness allowing her to communicate across vast distances as easily as breathing. "Now we can finally tell you the truth. The Harvesters weren't the real threat. They were just the first wave. What's coming next? That's why we really went into hiding. That's why we needed this galaxy, all of you, everything we've built." The Steel Guardians pulsed one final time, erasing the last traces of the Harvester Swarm from existence. But in the quantum space between stars, in the dimensions humanity had learned to navigate, something else stirred. Something that made the Harvesters look like a minor inconvenience. And humanity, after 15,000 years of preparation, was finally ready to face it. Dawn of recognition. The quantum echoes of the Harvester Swarm's dissolution had barely faded when humanity revealed the true scope of their 15,000-year mission. In the great chamber of Unity Station, before the assembled representatives of every spacefaring species, Sarah Chen and Admiral Helena Chen stood side by side, their enhanced forms bridging the gap between flesh and transcendence. "The universe is dying," Sarah began, her voice carrying the weight of generations of knowledge. "Not just our universe, all of them. Every parallel reality, every quantum possibility, every dimension where life found a foothold. Something is consuming them, not like the Harvesters who merely devoured life, but something that consumes existence itself." The chamber erupted in murmurs of disbelief and fear. High Counselor Vexera's crystalline form pulsed with deep violet hues of concern. "How can you know this?" Admiral Chen stepped forward, her quantum-enhanced consciousness projecting images into the minds of all present. They saw it then, the great void between universes, the creeping darkness that devoured not just matter and energy, but the very laws that governed reality. "We found the evidence in the ruins of dead universes," Helena explained. "The Harvesters weren't fleeing us. They were fleeing this. We didn't hide from them. We used them. Their pursuit of us allowed us to map the spread of the void, to understand its patterns, to prepare for the real war. In orbit above Unity Station, the Steel Guardians continued their transformation. The 17 nodes pulsed with energies that defied comprehension, their true purpose finally becoming clear. They weren't just weapons or defense platforms, they were pillars of creation. Humanity didn't just advance technologically, Dr. Solvera announced, her scientific detachment cracking under the weight of understanding. They found a way to preserve reality itself. Sarah nodded, her enhanced form shimming with quantum possibilities. The Steel Guardians are anchor points, she explained. The quantum network between them doesn't just defend our galaxy. It reinforces the fundamental laws of our universe. We've turned this entire galaxy into a fortress not just against physical threats, but against the collapse of reality itself. From Installation Zero, the Dreamers extended their consciousness across the quantum network. Their enhanced minds, preserved through millennia of suspended animation, had evolved beyond ordinary human comprehension. They were now the guardians not just of humanity or the galaxy, but of existence itself. The void enters through weak points in reality, Admiral Chen continued. Natural quantum fluctuations that it exploits and expands. The harvesters were simply the harbingers, pushing ahead of the collapse, consuming resources in a desperate attempt to survive. But we found a way to do more than survive. We found a way to fight back. High above, the Steel Guardians began their final transformation. The quantum network between them strengthened, creating a lattice of reinforced space-time that encompassed the entire galaxy. Reality itself became more real, more solid, more resistant to the encroaching void. All the technology we guided you to develop, Sarah explained to the stunned council, all the principles of physics we helped you discover. They were preparation. Every species in this galaxy has a role to play in what comes next. Your civilizations, your achievements, your unique perspectives on reality. They all strengthen the quantum lattice we've created. Ambassador Genlo's cybernetic eyes widened with understanding. The Uplift program, the guided development, the careful nurturing of civilizations. You weren't just building allies. You were creating anchors for reality itself. Yes, Helena confirmed. Different species perceive and interact with reality in different ways. Each unique consciousness helps strengthen the quantum lattice. The more diverse, the more advanced, the more aware the civilizations in this galaxy become, the stronger our defense against the void grows. Through the quantum network, they all saw it then. The approaching darkness between universes, the all-consuming void that had already devoured countless realities. But they also saw humanity's plan, 15,000 years in the making, finally coming to fruition. The Steel Guardians network wasn't just defending their galaxy, it was creating a template, a pattern that could be replicated, a way to reinforce reality itself against the encroaching dissolution. We need you all, Sarah announced, her voice carrying across quantum frequencies that spoke directly to consciousness itself. Not as subjects or allies, but as partners in the greatest endeavor any species has ever undertaken. We're not just saving our galaxy or our universe. We're creating a foundation for reality itself to persist, to fight back against entropy on a scale that transcends individual existence. In the quantum spaces between stars, the Dreamers continued their work, their enhanced consciousness weaving a tapestry of reinforced space-time that would serve as humanity's gift to existence itself. The Steel Guardians pulsed with energies that defied conventional physics, their network growing stronger with each passing moment. The age of hiding is over, Admiral Chen declared. The time of preparation has passed. Now begins the true purpose of everything we've built. The preservation of reality itself. The void thought it found easy prey in this galaxy. Instead, it found humanity's final gift to existence, a way to fight back. As if in response to her words, the quantum lattice flared with new energy. Every species in the galaxy felt it. A strengthening of reality itself, a defiance against the creeping entropy that threatened all existence. The Steel Guardian's light show was visible across the cosmos, a beacon of hope in a dying multiverse. "Welcome," Sarah Chen said, spreading her arms to encompass all present, "to humanity's legacy. Not conquest, not dominion, but preservation. Together, we will do more than survive. We will ensure that reality itself endures, that consciousness persists, that existence itself has a fighting chance." In the great chamber of Unity Station, representatives of 1,000 species stood in awe of the truth finally revealed. Humanity hadn't hidden out of fear or weakness. They had hidden to prepare, to build, to transcend, and to create something that could save not just their species, not just their galaxy, but reality itself. The dawn of recognition had arrived, and with it, the beginning of the real war, not for survival, but for existence itself. And humanity, after 15,000 years of preparation, had ensured they wouldn't fight it alone.